25 years ago, my divorced mom decided money, distance, and a little impossibility wouldn't stop her from pursuing an Ivy League graduate degree. So she packed up her teenage daughter and moved from Arkansas to Philadelphia, PA. We slept on mattresses on the floor of a tiny efficiency apartment in West Philadelphia. I remember laying in the dark, a few feet from my mother. The sounds of the city were constant: sirens, traffic, gunshots, and the regular clanking of the trolley that passed right outside the window above our heads all night. We've never spoken of it, but I know now, from my own perspective as a mom, that my mother did not sleep those first few weeks. She lay there, her chest tight, needing to remind herself to breathe and to breathe again. She may have cried, but she did so silently, keeping her exhaustion and doubt and terror hidden from me. It was an adventure, a difficult one, a bewildering one, but one from which, as far as my mother ever led on, there was no doubt we would emerge as victors. I had to take the subway to school. Public transportation is a foreign thing to most Southerners, especially to me, who had only lived in a town with a bus system for 2 years and had certainly never ridden it. The noises, the smells, the people, so many people, all up in your space, but so impersonal, never acknowledging how intimate we were all forced to be. One afternoon, during my first week of school, I took a seat by the window, when suddenly the smell of urine and vomit and stale alcohol became much stronger. A man had taken the space next to me, trapping me in my seat. He talked to me. He touched me. My knee, my shoulder, my hair. He called me pretty. I was petrified and sat immobile until my station stopped, when I shoved my way off the train and lost him in the crowd. I came home shaken. My mother had read our bodies ourselves. She immediately called 911 and reported that her daughter had been sexually assaulted on the subway. Within minutes, red and blue lights were flashing outside our apartment building, and 3 uniformed police officers and a paramedic were at our front door. My mother explained. The paramedic left. The oldest of the 3 officers told the other 2 to leave, that he would handle it. He then proceeded to spend the next 2 hours there with us on our makeshift furniture, teaching us both how to survive ordinary daily life in Philly. Own your space. Don't sit in the corner by the wall, claim the aisle seat, and defend it against invaders. Be unapproachable, be rude, be loud, and most importantly, learn how to swear. At this point, I need to add a quick disclaimer. To meet show guidelines in this story, I use a substitute expletive. My mother did not. My mother was a quicker study than me. What you need, she said enthusiastically, is a Fudge-You face. I blushed. No, they both said, no blushing. Clench your teeth, stare straight ahead, and dare anyone with your eyes to say a word to you. I gave it a shot. The officer looked amused. Now, they said, practice cursing. Get the heck away from me, I said politely. Not good enough. Shit, I tried. Better, now louder. The last time I had cursed was when I told a cousin to kiss my butt. My daddy overheard, and I learned my lesson. Well, that night, my daddy was 1,200 miles away, and a Philadelphia police officer urged me to shout every curse word I could think of, and some he had to teach me at the top of my lungs. My mother, she invoked lessons from coaching me for singing and interviewing in beauty pageants, projecting my voice, making my presence unforgettable. They were an effective team. By the time the officer left, my mother was satisfied that I was adequately armed. Every day or two for the next few weeks, my mother would send me out the door to school with the reminder to put on my Fudge-You face. Finally, the lessons were put to the test. I was on the Green Line trolley heading home. The car was packed. The crush of people was so tight, we barely had to grasp the handle to stay upright as the trolley lurched and swayed. And then I felt it. A hand. Fingers inching tentatively down the curve of my back pocket. A pickpocket? No, the fingers swept lower until the entire hand, hot and clammy even through my shorts, cupped firmly against my buttock. I turned my head and looked behind me. Hazel eyes leered into my own from a grizzled face. I turned back to the front, aghast. What do I do? I thought, does he know he's touching me there? Is it an accident? I pushed forward a few inches and the woman in front of me grumbled. The hand followed, pressing even more firmly, fingers even wiggling slightly as though probing into my flesh. Would any of these people help me if I screamed? What should I do? How dare he do this to me? How dare he do this to me? I felt my jaw clench, my brows furrowed, my eyes glazing over with barely checked fury. I was alone but not helpless, and I was not going back to my mother with another sad tale of being a victim on the subway. I was going back triumphant, or with blood under my nails, or not at all. I turned and fixed my pervert with a glare. His smirk faded slightly. I opened my mouth and said, "Would you kindly remove your hand from my ass?" My voice carried. Silence fell over the trolley. Heads swiveled in our direction as the car came to a stop. The operator's voice came over the loudspeaker, and I caught his eye in the rearview mirror. "Young lady, do you need any help back there?" Frantic, my pervert hit the button to open the rear doors and jumped out of the trolley. My newfound supporters and I watched him trot hurriedly down the street. I looked back toward the driver. "Not anymore, thank you, sir." Laughter, friendly pats on my shoulder. The woman in front of me smiled and gave me a little extra room. I came home that afternoon with my tale of battle won, and my mother's laughter was more than a little tinged with relief. She told that story over and over, to classmates and colleagues at school, to friends and family back home. She never stopped the story with the punchline, but always included the laughter and support of the other people on the car, those who circled around me and helped me stare down the beast. We were surrounded by allies, both of us, and we were fierce enough to earn their respect and protection. That night, I know my mother slept.